Director Pratt with us today?
Here.
Thank you. Director Graham?
Here.
Director Unruh?
Here.
Chair McCarricker is here, I know. Director Kwalitza?
Here.
Thank you. Director Hamrick?
Present.
Director Miller?
Here.
Director McCormick?
Here.
Director Reinhardt?
Here.
Director Wilkes? Thank you. Director Sosnowski?
Here.
Director Doyle?
Present.
Director Gay?
Yes.
Director Walter is here as well. Director Kovchok?
Here.
Director Wilkie? Director Wilkie, I believe you're here, but you're muted at the moment.
Yes, here.
Thank you. Director Jackman?
Oops. Here.
Yeah, he's there.
Thank you. Director Wall?
Here. Present.
Thank you. Director Casemore?
Present.
Thank you. And Director Cathcart?
Yes, present.
Thank you very much. Everybody is present.
Thank you, Shannon. Well, welcome, directors. This is going to be a bit of a challenge. We're going to attempt to run the meeting from my basement and from the regional district office. So Shannon and I are a long ways apart and I can't actually see her. So some of you we can see, some of you can't. If we can't see you and there's a motion comes forward, I will be asking any opposed instead of in favor. That way we don't have to go around the 21 people that we have to. So if there's any in opposition, voice your opinion and it'll be marked down. And if there's no opposition, then it'll just be carried and move forward. Is that okay? Okay, so there being a quorum, we'll call this meeting of May 1st via Zoom 2020 for the Kootenay Regional Hospital District Board. Shannon?
Item number 2, addition of late items.
Are there any late items, directors? Not hearing or seeing any. Shannon?
That the agenda for the KERHD Board of Directors meeting be adopted.
Mover?
Moved by Rob. Rob.
Second by Director Doyle. Opposed? You're not seeing any. Motion is carried.
Next item is 4.1, that the minutes of the KERHD Board of Directors meeting held on February 14th, 2020 be adopted as circulated.
Mover? Director Reinhardt? Seconder? And Director Doyle is the only one I can see, so. Any opposed? Carried. Shannon?
And the next section is delegations. With us first up is Michael Murphy with BDO Canada LLP regarding the 2019 audited financial statements.
Welcome, Michael. The video is yours.
Thank you, Chair McCarricker. I'm just going to share my screen. And for those of you that can't Zoom along with us, I'm on page 11 of the agenda. So as of the date of our final report today, we've substantially completed our audit of the 2019 financial statements. There's some housekeeping items requiring receipt of management representation letter from CFO Ronquist. And my team is working from home today to complete subsequent events review as well. The ask of the Board of Directors is to approve the financial statements today. Our audit was executed as described in our planning report and has been substantially the same as the previous year as well. With respect to independence, we have confirmed our independence. We assist with the preparation of the financial statements. However, all information is provided by management and approved prior to release. And so we further reconfirm our independence as of today. Materiality is based at $245,000, which is up a little bit from our planning as actual results were a little bit higher than those that we use as our preliminary basis. With respect to our audit findings, likely aggregate misstatements, I'm happy to report that there were none. And as I mentioned, that we'll be getting representation from CFO Ronquist to swear that she told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. When it comes to fraud, our audit is not put in place to say this is the hospital district's fraud prevention. That's not what an audit is. However, we do put procedures in place to make sure that that controls aren't being overridden and whatnot. And having said that, should any members of the board be concerned of any instances of fraud, bring them up to us throughout the course of the year so that we can design tests to confirm or relieve any concerns with respect to that. Having said that, I'm happy to report that we did not detect any material misstatement relating from fraud during the course of our audit. Internal control matters, we rely on the controls of the hospital district and are happy to report that we don't have any deficiencies in that respect. While you're stuck at home, we do have some resources if you want to read up in your free time, but I won't belabor that. And then the draft auditor's report is the same as last year. We plan on issuing a clean audit report. Now I'll quickly move into the draft financial statements. So as we look at the statement of financial position, cash has increased $900,000. I'll go over that change. It's easier to see in the statement of cash flows. Accrued payables is up $160,000, and that tends to be on IHA projects that are ongoing at the end of the year. So nothing too untoward there. And long-term debt is just the scheduled repayment of debt. So not a whole bunch of change on the statement of financial position. As we move to the statement of operations, when we look at our interest and other, it's higher than it has been previously, and as budgeted. The budget tends to be on the conservative side, and there are more favorable rates from both the bank and MFA this year, as well as a higher balance to base that off of. So that's the mean increase in your revenues over budget in prior year. And then with respect to expenses, administration is under budget. The budget is based off of the board meeting 12 times a year, and we only meet 4, so there's a $20,000 favorable variance there, which covers that. And then capital grants, there's only 2.4 that was actually spent during the year. Some of the bigger ones were the Golden Boiler at $580,000, Medistations at $400,000, the Global Grant at $372,000, IMIT at $320,000, Surgical Information Systems at $140,000, and Radiograph at $132,000. There were a number of projects that were not yet started, but as part of the budget, $580,000 for the pharmacy reno. There's still another $590,000 unspent on IMIT projects, and another $131,000 on surgical information systems. And then there's still a lot of projects from previous bylaws, 117, 115, and previous years for projects that are still ongoing, but have anywhere from a couple thousand to 50,000 of work left to go on those. And I don't want to steal any more of Mr. Mastel's thunder on the ongoing projects, so I'll leave it at that. So that leaves a $900,000 surplus for the year, bearing in mind that there's still a number of projects that do need to be spoken for going forward. And then, as I mentioned, the cash flow, we had a surplus of $905,000. When we account for the working capital, it increases to $1 million from operations, and then $106,000 is spent on repaying the debt, resulting in a $900,000 increase in cash. The only other thing that I'll draw your attention to as something that's new this year is, as we can all see from working from home, COVID has an impact, and we've just put disclosure in there as we're not sure what this impact could look like on the hospital's results going forward. So I'll stop sharing my screen now, and if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Thank you, Michael. Directors, if you have questions, I think Manager Moskal can see most of you. If not, just shout it out if you'd like some questions answered. Shannon, are we okay?
I'm not seeing any hands. I do not believe that there's any questions.
Thank you, Michael, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Shannon?
And our next delegation with us today is Todd Mastel, Interim Corporate Director, Financial Services with Interior Health, regarding the project update summary.
Mr. Mestel, welcome.
Thank you, Chairman Carricker. Good morning, directors. So I will try sharing my screen here as well, and I'll walk you through a project update. Hopefully you can all see that. And then Chair, after I go through this report, I've got a couple other updates in terms of items that were still underway coming out of the meeting in February. So directors, my report today is really just focused on items that were from prior fiscal years. The new approvals that were part of the February meeting package that would really coincide with our fiscal year starting in April. I haven't added them to this report at this time, just because really in the end, the update for all the new items is that we're still working on an implementation plan for them. So that information I'll bring to the meeting in August, where we'll have a better sense in terms of timelines for the new approvals. So looking at items that were outstanding as of the 17-18 fiscal year. First one on the list is the project, the general radioactive room in Creston Valley Hospital. This is a new digital X-ray machine, as we more commonly call it internally. We completed this project in January, and we've been using it for patient care since the start of the new year. And we'll be working on completing our billing to the hospital district on this here in the coming days. But good news on that project is complete. Second item that was still outstanding from 17-18 was the renovation to the biomed department at East Kootenay Regional Hospital. I think I've mentioned before, this space is actually in the penthouse of our building on what we call the 4th floor. That project is substantially complete. We have the new workstations, the new storage, the new tool benches and so forth in place. There is some deficiencies that we're working through that we should have cleaned up here shortly, but that project is substantially complete, and our biomed staff are quite happy with their new space. Third item at EKRH is the new urology imaging system that goes into one of the operating rooms, one of the 4 operating rooms we have at EKRH. That project construction is underway. It took us a while to get us to this stage. We're estimating substantial completion on that project in June. We did start this project before we had the COVID outbreak, and we actually had to isolate off about half of our operating room space in order to get this work done. So it is progressing as we speak. We'll have an update for that one in August. The last project from 17-18 is the chemistry analyzer systems for our laboratory. We have finally completed the provincial RFP and have agreed on a vendor of choice that we will use for Interior Health, and we're currently working with that vendor on installation requirements and configurations for us here at East Kootenay Regional Hospital, and hopefully we can get moving on installing that equipment here over the summer. In terms of projects from the 18-19 fiscal year, one remaining outstanding, and that is the electronic medical record system for the emergency department here at East Kootenay Regional Hospital. We had done some planning on that, and then we've been on hold in terms of working with our staff and particularly with the physicians on having the capacity to configure that properly. And with the COVID outbreak, we haven't been able to move that one forward. So we'll provide a few updates as we go in the future on that project. Looking at projects now that were approved in the 18-19 fiscal year. The first one, which is the largest one that we have on the books right now, of the pharmacy renovation at 1.45 million. As I've updated previously, we're looking at relocating that space to the lower level former cafeteria area. So that part we are still moving forward on. We had started working on the design process, but we've had to pause that. And we're actually using some of that space now, or we're holding it in case of getting into a surge situation around COVID-19. Hopefully, we'll be able to complete the design work shortly and then move to tendering that renovation project. Second item from the 1920 fiscal year is the upgrade to the home support office space at Creston Valley Hospital. We have the design work underway, substantially complete on design, and we're just holding to move to tendering the construction on that project. The replacement of several hand wash and adding of several hand washing sinks, again at CVH and Creston from last year. We've got our spots identified. We have to do some work in terms of being able to isolate the plumbing supply system for that hospital without actually having to take the whole hospital down to put a sink in. So we're doing some of that work now, and then we'll progress into the sink installation over the summer. Next item on the list at KERHD is the kitchen and disposal system. So this is a project where we actually had a requested increase on. Similarly, we have the design work underway. This is on, we call the soiled side of the kitchen, so replacing the conveyor system, the washing system, the garburator, and moving away from our current system of pulping cardboard and disposing it down the drain, and with a new cardboard compactor that'll go out on the side of the facility. So we're pretty much through the design stage on that. We're not exactly sure when we will be able to go, or when it makes the most sense to go out and tender. So that XXX will have a date on it when I provide an update in August. Two projects next at Elk Valley Hospital. The first one is the exhaust hood in our medical device reprocessing area, and we're working on completing the design and hopefully going to tender on that one fairly quickly. And the second project at Elk Valley Hospital was the renovation to the ambulatory care area, and that work was completed in March. Last project on our update report is in Golden, and that's the fire suppression system in the front entrance, and that'll be because it's on the exterior of the building. It's a dry system versus plumbing in water for the sprinkler system. That design work again is underway, pretty much complete, with our goal of having that work completed over the summer months. So that concludes the items that were remaining from the last time I provided an update to the board, which was back in November. Again, in August, I'll be able to add on our new projects that were approved this year with some sense of the timeline on how they'll move forward. Sure, there's a couple other things I would like to provide an update on before we go to questions. At our last meeting, we were still working towards scheduling a meeting for BC Cancer reps and Dr. Halpern, who is our medical lead for Interior Health, to come and present to the board. So due to circumstances, this meeting did not work well for that scheduling. We'll work with you and the RHD administration on whether the August or the November meeting makes the most sense to bring that presentation forward to the board. But we have, just so that a reminder, we haven't lost track of that, and we'll work on timing that makes the most sense. And the last piece of my update, Chair, is around our major capital. So we have not received any news in terms of major capital approvals for the ministry for the new fiscal year. So we will keep you updated on progress on that one as well at a future meeting. Chair, that is all the information I have for today. A fairly short update. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mestel. Directors, questions, comments? Shannon, can you see? Mr. Mestel, can you open the screen? Thank you. Thank you. Shannon?
I don't see any hands. I don't see any hands being raised, Chair.
Oh,
Hey.
Dr. Walter had one.
Oh, sorry, Director Walter has a question.
Go ahead, Director
I've
Walter.
I've been getting some complaints from the hospital in Cranbrook-Huron on how they have to reuse the masks. Are we going to be getting some new masks so they're not having to continue reusing and sterilizing masks?
Terry Doman is also on the line, Chair. Terry, can you maybe respond to that question?
Yeah, the issue of PPE and masks comes up every day, and we have clear direction from our workplace health and safety and infection control folks around new fit testing for different numbers or levels of masks that have now come into the system that require different testing. So we are moving forward to hold on the reuse, and further work will be done as to whether or not those masks can be completely sterilized and then re-enter the system. That work is still unknown and underway.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Director Walter? Okay. Terry, have you reached out to Tech for masks, or do they supply the ones that you would need?
We've reached out. There's been we've been actually overwhelmed with kindness from the community and industry around the masks. So we have a donation line that all industry or people that would like to contribute are able to go through, and then the people on the other end of that distribution ensure that the masks are medical grade and fit, and then they enter into the supply chain from there. But we, in the health authority, we are unable to purchase our own site-specific masks, or in each individual hospital. It all enters into the provincial supply chain and then gets redistributed. So Tech has been generous. Finning has, well, there's been so much generosity I shouldn't even list because I'll forget someone. So anything that could be entered into the system absolutely has been.
But it goes to the province first.
It goes to our warehouse and entered into a province database so that the province is aware of exactly what stock is available at every site and in every warehouse. We have to send in our site inventory on PPE every single day,
Okay,
7 days a week. Yeah.
Dr. Jackman, go ahead. Director Jackman, go ahead.
Thank you. The icon at the bottom, I know that. Yeah, on the masks, I'm still seeing contractors. Engineering site inspections is still non-medical essential. And I've asked a couple, the one had a few hundred masks. He'd rather drop them off in Creston or something like that rather than go through any other process. Is that being done, or does everything have to go back through some central source?
So if it's just a couple hundred masks, I shouldn't say that. So if it's a small quantity of masks in perspective, then our sites can send a picture or the information off the mask box to the logistics folks to ask for, to make sure that it's insured to be safe to be used. And then it will be left on the site if it's meant for that. But if it's hundreds of thousands of masks that could be entered into the supply chain that a specific site may never use, then those ones are requested, the larger quantities are requested to be sent.
To follow up, I think there might be quite a few contractors, and I have to see two more either late today or Monday type thing. And I will start asking them, because they don't need a few hundred, they need a few dozen. So I will ask that. Can I ask another question through the chair? I don't know if anybody on the call can answer. It's not directly related to what we normally talk about. We have better at home volunteer drivers, and there's some concern right now about notification for patient discharge where people need a ride. It's more difficult than ever to get a ride. We have no taxis, we have no transit in a lot of areas. Who's the best contact, and I don't know if Terry could answer this or not, to make sure that when patients are discharged, that any organization that might be able to provide safe transportation knows about it?
It's Terry. I can answer that if it's okay, Chair.
Absolutely, please do.
I think, can I connect Carrie Wall with you? She's our Healthy Communities facilitator that's been working across local governments and working to answer questions with not-for-profits, and we'll link in the environmental health or whoever she needs. So if it's okay, I could have Carrie connect with you directly on that, and she could even come up with a list that may be useful for everyone.
That would be great. great if she could just email me. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, further questions? Shannon?
Director Sturzer has a question.
Go ahead, Director Sturzer.
Thanks, Chair, and thanks everybody for listening to this question. You know, I know that through this whole COVID process, you know, there's mixed signals out there, and I first of all would say that I believe our health board and everybody's been doing, our healthcare practitioners, are doing an amazing job, and all of us have been doing a good job given what we're having to deal with. That said, it's a bit of a mixed signals out there that people are getting, and I'm not saying from us, but with the COVID pandemic, we're trying to stop the spread, so stay at home, physically distance, and all that. And I think that there's a lot of people that have taken that, you know, as just strictly capacity here in the Kootenays, what our capacity is. I think that this ties together with a bigger issue about post-pandemic and economic development and recovery and resilience, about getting a message out there that we have capacity here. And we're asking people to come and vacation, spend their vacation dollars here, be here in that capacity. We're also telling people this is a great place to come and retire, build your final home, be a part of the Kootenays, and so on. So just some comments out there, and I'm just wondering if we can all give some thought. Maybe I'm missing something, but how we socialize that post-pandemic to give people the feeling of security and comfort that they can be here, the services that they need are here, and if not, you know, how we can backstop and make sure that we are putting the proper resources forward so that they are. Just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Anything further?
Yeah, if I might, Chair, it's Rob here. And it's you to Todd or Terry. I guess the last meeting or two meetings ago, we were shared kind of a recruitment plan, and it was quite ambitious. I was just wondering, have you been able to continue with that? Are you still trying to recruit to our areas?
Well, the primary care work absolutely has continued on in the background, best that it can with all of our with all the COVID work that's been underway. We have been successful or are successfully moving on a couple physician positions that have become vacant due to pending retirements. And we've also been able to bring in people, as we're aware, that are coming to our province. New nurse to Elkford. And so, yeah, in the background, in our spare time, we have been able to move forward with that as the mandates and direction from ministry around timelines hasn't changed from that perspective.
Thank you very much. Why I asked the question is we've been requested for some help with physician recruiting once more. That I think we had a big gap in positions in the Cranbrook-Kimberley area. That was solved, and now the problem is back again. So I think this week I'm going to be seeing a request for something. So, but anyway, yeah, thank you for that and for your work recruiting.
Well, and thanks for participating in recruiting, because the Cranbrook is struggling with recruitment. And so we know from successful recruitment in the past that it kind of takes a village and that red carpet committee to roll that out and make people excited about relocating. And Cranbrook is our area in greatest need. So I appreciate your partnership with that.
You're welcome.
Director Gay, are you suggesting that it's a regional district that's been asked? Because I have not been asked as a hospital chair.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on a call next week, so I said send your request, but I think it is. We had helped previously, Area C and the city of Cranbrook, not the whole regional district, but and I think as the Columbia Valley, they're trying to roll out a similar strategy, and Creston certainly was the model that we followed for the recruitment. So I think we've all been in this when we need to.
Okay, thank you for that. Further. Thank you, Terry, for attending as well. Anything else, Shannon? Next.
I do not see any hands raised, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mastel and Terry, for your presentation. You look very casual today, Mr. Mastel.
It is Friday.
It is. You can look forward to my video later today. Further, Shannon?
We're moving now to item 8.1. Is that all right with you, Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, item 8.1, that the Kootenai East Regional Hospital District audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2019 be approved.
Mover. Director Miller, Director Reinhardt, I see. You got that?
Yes, I have that. Thank you.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, it's carried.
And then the next section is reports from directors.
Wow, already. Okay, you're gonna have to go around the loop for me because I'm not sure where we are here. Who's up first?
Okay, let me start with the list I had originally. Let's start with Director Sturzer.
Nothing
Sturzer?
to report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Director Pratt.
Nothing to report, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Director Graham.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, sir.
Director Unruh.
Nothing to report.
Thank you, Director.
Director Kualitsa.
Thank you. I guess I just wanted to say, for those of you that aren't familiar with our little Elk Valley Hospital, the team there has gone to extraordinary measures to reroute the pathways for ambulatory services, so they can still service trauma and then still be able to service COVID if we become COVID positive. It was startling to see when I did a tour of the facility because it's such a change in patterns, but everyone there has learned a new way of movement and to keep themselves safe and deliver to our communities. I can only imagine all of your hospitals look dramatically different as well. And I just find it remarkable what we've all achieved in such a short amount of time. So just really, really, really thankful for everyone's support on that.
Thank you, Director.
Director Hambrook.
Yeah, nothing to report.
Thank you, Director.
Director Miller.
Yes, just again, a thank you to all the frontline staff and healthcare workers and to the management here for, I think, an outstanding job. Our chief of staff, who have been keeping everybody apprised in the Columbia Valley here. I think it's been very well done. So just a thank you.
Thank you, Director Miller.
Director McCormick.
I too wanted to give a huge shout out to everybody in IH, right from the top of the chain down. You guys have done an outstanding job getting organized, kind of keeping everything in hand. You've done a great job, and thank you for that.
Director Reinhardt.
Thank you, and nothing to report.
Thank you, Director.
Director Wilkes.
Nothing, thank you.
Director Wilkes, did you want to talk about the Sparwood facility?
Yeah, Ken.
Please do.
Certainly similar to what Director Questley was saying. Myself and Chair McCarricker took a tour of the Sparwood Primary Healthcare Unit. They've done some excellent work in creating a area that is isolates any COVID positive cases that come in. Ambulatory care goes to a separate entrance rather than going through Emerge. And they set up a room that's sealed so that they can deal with it. The Director or Chair McCarricker and myself also watched a display by some of the people at the primary healthcare unit as they went through a practice of if a COVID positive case needed to be ventilated. So it was very good to watch that, and they've done some very good work there. So congratulations to that. And I believe, certainly in Spirewood and Elkford Fernie were very well placed to deal with it should it come about.
Thank you, Director Wilkes.
Director Sosnowski.
Yes, I'd like to echo the thanks for IHA, and knowing that there's testing is available in our hospitals in the Elk Valley with a 1-day turnaround on the test. That was amazing. I thought that can't be any better. So thank you very much.
Director Doyle.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank the staff of the Cranbrook Hospital and IHA out there. You're doing a fantastic job. And had a message to Todd and Terry. My son was admitted on the Easter long weekend into the hospital there, and the care is phenomenal. So, you know, we can say we've got things to work on and do, but we do have a great system. He was airlifted out to Kelowna and brought back, and he's recovering well, but we do have a great system. And so if you could pass those thanks on, and those frontline staff need that thank you. So from my family to them, thank you very much. Good.
Thank you.
Director Gay.
Nothing, thank you.
Director Walter.
Nothing, thank you.
Director Kovtop.
Thank you, Shannon. I would like to echo Director Miller's appreciation for certainly the entire IHA team and in the Columbia Valley. And I'd also like to add acknowledgement of all the volunteers that have stepped up to provide support and donations, the businesses that have donated PPEs, and I just think it's very inspiring how our communities have really come together to backstop some of the challenges and provide their support. It is incredibly inspiring and heartwarming. So thank you also goes out to all those volunteers in our community that support our IHA staff. And I think our chief of staff at the hospital is doing an outstanding job.
Director Wilkie. Director Wilkie, I believe you may be muted. Are you there?
Yeah. Yes, I have no report except I would like to thank Interior Health for outstanding work, especially with communication. It's been outstanding.
Thank you. Director Jackman.
Yeah, thank you. I want to reiterate, I've seen directly and heard feedback. The health system is operating quite smoothly. Tiny clinics like Crawford Bay are still operating. We're sure thankful we have telehealth now, but they're even able to do blood tests and other work there, screening. I had to take my wife in about a week ago for tests that were scheduled for months. I thought it was very slick. I didn't go in the building, but a very smooth operation. It does seem as though we don't see the stress, but the system really does appear to be working. I want to give a heads up for something that has been raised as a concern. Right now, the province has 55 extra ambulances in service during the pandemic. My understanding is that once those 55 ambulances are pulled back, at the same time, they will be rolling back the standby time pay for paramedics on call. So they'll go back to making $2 an hour times 12 hours, or $24 for being on call for 12 hours. Right now, they're being paid under a separate agreement, not related to the pandemic, 4-hour shift, whether they're called or not. I think we should all pay attention to that. If those things occur simultaneously, we're not aware of the change, we could see it impacting our rural ambulance station staffing again. And we'll kind of be going back a couple of years. So it's something I think everyone should ask your local paramedics about, what the impact might be in your neighborhood.
Thank you, Director Jackman. I was unaware that I'll be talking to our staff up here today.
Director Wall.
Yes, I would just like to really extend my thank you to all of the staff at Interior Health. I've personally been a patient in this last 6 weeks a number of times in the regional hospital in Cranbrook, and the staff has been absolutely fantastic with making sure that people are feeling reassured about the safe work practices, about the sanitization, and just watching the staff work through their regular workload, plus, you know, the fear of what is actually going on around us. And it is just remarkable on how they make patients still feel at ease. So just a really big thank you to all the staff and everybody at Interior Health for, you know, the professionalism and also, you know, the empathy that they are taking with people as we work through this pandemic. So thanks.
Thank you, Director, for that. And welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
And this is the part where they're leaving the door open for layoffs, encourage underutilized employees to access these provisions.
Next, Shannon. Shannon? Hello?
Director Casemore, hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I could hear you before too while you were talking.
Director Casemore, do you have anything to report?
Enrollment look like, all of those things.
Nothing to report.
Decision.
Director Caspar?
Can we employ, and then as a last.
Nothing to report, thanks.
That's everybody, Chair, except for yourself.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, directors, for your reports. Terry, are all the clinics operating the same as Farwood and Elkford on a call-in basis?
Do you mean for patient clinics?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So almost everyone is doing virtual care in their clinics and the assessments over the phone. So they can then triage if it's respiratory-like illness, then they can triage the most appropriate place for a potential COVID patient to go. And then if they've determined that the risk is low and they still need to be seen in the office, and they're doing those call-in or book-ins, that is consistent across East Kootenay for sure.
So the number that you gave us for the nurse that would be on the phone, does all of East Kootenay have that?
No, every area operates slightly differently. So Elk Valley has one number. Cranbrook has a community testing number that they use that has public health on the other end. Invermere is different. So there is different models with a similar philosophy behind it, but just based on need and staffing, as well as how the clinics are set up.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to remind all the directors that although the clinics are taking limited appointments, they don't want you to stay home and get sick enough that you have to go to the hospital directly instead of going to the clinic first. So remind all your residents when you see them, if you talk to them or FaceTime with them or whatever, that if they're feeling sick, make an appointment with their doctor and make sure that they go see them, or virtual with phone, and then they can be recommended to either go to the clinic or to the hospital or whatever. So I know that the clinics are not very busy in Elkford for sure, and I don't think Sparwood's much different. And it's because people are not going. So remind your citizens that they're still open. The doors are still open. They're still operating, and the labs are still working. So with that, that's just a reminder for all of you. I would also want to thank IH for all the work that you've done through all this whole mess. And I continue to enjoy working with all of you. And is that it, Shannon?
That's it, nothing else.
Thank you, directors. Stay home, stay safe. Do what I do. I've started to do the driveway visit now with my friends, 6 to 8 feet apart. The police aren't too happy about me sitting in the front driveway, but that's okay, whatever. So enjoy your friends, enjoy your family as much as you can, and stay safe, and we'll talk to you, I guess, in August.
Be kind.
Okay, be kind to everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, staff, for all your work.
Yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.